All right, I'm going to call this council meeting to order. Steve, would you lead us in the flag salute?
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue?
Blessed Father, once again, we do thank you for allowing us to be here. And it's a blessing tonight, Father, that we have essay winners of the bike contest. This bike contest was thought up by Leonard Chaidez, council member, and approved by the entire staff. And what a great city we have that is encouraging the young people to get involved and to bike for life and to just become involved in all kinds of different things in the community. And we're honored that we are able to bring them here tonight to give them their awards. Father, I just ask that you be with the council tonight as they discuss the business of the city and that everything be pleasing to your ear. Amen.
Amen. Roll call.
Councilmember Prida?
Here.
Councilmember Chaidez?
Here.
Councilmember Schultz?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Canada?
Here.
Mayor Hickerman?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. This evening, we have a presentation of bicycles to Fedde Middle School essay winners. Would the council want to join me down on the dais? I understand we have Stacy Anderson from Fedde Middle School here. Would you come forward, please? I believe you have the names of the winners.
I do. Can I just say a couple of words about that? Okay. When they said, when my principal asked, could I say a few words?
Sure.
I think my students wondered if I could stop at a few, but I can. But I just wanted to tell you guys that, first of all, when I saw these bikes, I thought, oh, it must be Christmas, because they were in our office in December, and they were so beautiful. And I ran into the principal's office and said, what are those for? And Mr. Gonzalez talked about the City of Hawaiian Gardens, how they were having this gift, and that with an essay writing contest, that our students could win these bicycles, and what beautiful bicycles they are. And I know we're also thankful to the Hawaiian Garden City Council. And there were a range of topics we could pick for that particular time, and one of them was about improving our conduct. And so for Martin Luther King's birthday, and looking at how we conduct ourselves in a multiracial community, and how we treat each other, we had our contest and more than 400 students wrote essays. And yeah, it was a big event. And out of those, 4 were selected, and I read a whole lot of essays, but maybe if I could read just a couple sentences from each of them as I call your name, and then are they going to come up and pose with you guys? Great, okay. The words of Alex Kim. In conclusion, the theme of Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech is that everyone, no matter what race they are, they should be treated equally and fairly. The reasons to support this theme are everyone should be bonding together instead of being racial. That's Alex Kim. Come on up. In the words of Brenda Villegas, should I keep going? Another dream of Martin Luther King Jr. was that one day little black boys and girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and girls. Correct use of quote there. He wanted blacks and whites helping each other out like normal brothers and sisters would. No fighting, getting along. I think Martin's right because everyone deserves the right to be treated equally without being offended because of their skin color. That's Brenda Villegas. Is Brenda here? Taylor Dunham. The I Have a Dream speech makes me feel inspired and encouraged. Dr. King creates a mood of hope and change for everyone. For example, quote, All of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands. This quote from the I Have a Dream speech shows that no matter what race or religion you are, we are all still God's children. And finally, Ronald Chung. Martin's speech really touched my heart. He made me think how grateful I really am. I take it for granted that I have Hispanic friends and black friends. People had to get beat down for equal rights. The powerful words coming out of this speech put the world through a big change. I am really amazed that he didn't use fists to gain his freedom. He fought with words, as all of our students did for this essay contest. Oh, we got 3 out of 4. Someone got lost, but, oh, I think they want, we need to pose them with you guys going, can we get some pictures? I was gonna run back and get my camera in the purse. You guys want to stand over here with the council? I think mom and dad are all ready with the cameras.
We have 124 minutes and 20 seconds.
Step further back, right there. There you go, because you're pretty tall. There you go. There you go. Now you're all in.
Look at them first.
One more. Change battery pack. You got 2.
Okay, here we go. Look at.
It's off. We'll make sure that you get copies of this.
Okay.
Right here.
There you go.
All right, we have 2 young gentlemen here.
Now, if you want a bigger bite, 124, I get 126, you want a bigger bite.
With the bike comes a helmet, and I believe a water bottle, and our city logo is on the helmet to show where it came from.
And I'm sure you'll see that the other young child received that bike there then. All right, stop it. That's it.
I'd like to make a comment, if I may. I'd like to, as a principal of the school, I'd like to thank the city council for all the efforts with the bike program that we have, the Bike for Life. This is really an honor, and again, it goes back to our collaboration as a team and the city and the school working together, and really the excitement that the students have every time they see the bicycles on Fetty News and working together to work with the essays with Mrs. Anderson. It was really, really a pleasure, and again, we thank you as a school. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
I might add that, just a quick comment, that it's an irony to me that our students are writing about Martin Luther King while our pedestrian bridge is going through the trials and tribulations of being closed because some people on the other side of the bridge decided that they don't want our folks over there. Okay? This is an absolute irony, okay, and a hypocrisy. They actually greased the fence over the other side. I don't know if you know that or not. That's how bad it is over on the other side. So when we talk about hate crimes, okay, I know the emphasis has been on hate crimes of people of color, but there's still hate crimes around. It doesn't make any difference whose color it is, okay? And the problem is that that pedestrian bridge represents a safe access to the bike path. And somehow, some way, people on the other side don't believe our kids should have a safe access to the bike path. Like somehow we don't deserve it. And the irony about this all is that our kids are writing about how we should tolerate each other and how we should love one another and put our hands out. And at the same time, it's the age-old battle from hundreds of years ago. The same battle, okay, happening less than a half a mile away. That's the real hypocrisy about this whole situation. There's a hate crime happening, and it's across that bridge, okay? But I haven't seen too many people rise up in arms about that hate crime. And I just wanted to point that out to you so you know what I'm thinking about when I see stuff like this, because I think our kids are superlative. I think our kids who wrote these essays are shining stars, and they deserve every bit of respect as anybody else, and they deserve a safe path to that bikeway. Thank you.
Just echoing along with Councilman Childish's statements, I want to thank the children who wrote those essays. They were fine essays from what I heard. And I too hope that someday, in the words of Martin Luther King, that will be judged not for the color of their skin, but for the content of their character. And that's what we should be looking at. We're all human beings. We're all God's children.
That's right.
And we should be looking at that we all want the same thing together. Same thing for our families. Doesn't matter who we are. And I hope that we can make some headroad into that. We do have a diversity fair coming up in March, I believe. And so we're looking forward to a good attendance with that. And hopefully we'll be making some inroads with people within the community understanding that, hey, you know, we're all alike here. We all live here. Let's be good neighbors, and let's help one another. So, with that, we do have a presentation this evening by Gary Smuts, the district superintendent, regarding the relocation of the ABC Unified School District offices.
Mayor Heckerman, members of the City Council, and Mr. Marquez, thank you for the opportunity to speak with everyone tonight. I, too, like Mr. Gonzalez, I want to thank the city for the collaboration that I witnessed tonight. There's very little more important, I think, than keeping kids in school. And I think it's marvelous that we work together to do the first thing is to be able to teach kids is they got to be in school. And so I think it's very important that they are there, and I appreciate your efforts in that regard. The ABC School Board has asked me, excuse me, to address all the city councils that might be interested, particularly those from the cities of Artesia and Hawaiian Gardens, about the joint project that the city of Cerritos is proposing with the ABC Unified School District. The City Council of Hawaiian Gardens knows about redevelopment agencies, and the City of Cerritos is also a redevelopment agency, and they have a requirement in the City of Cerritos, like all redevelopment agencies, I understand, to build affordable housing. The City of Cerritos has a proposal to build affordable housing at the district office site. It consists of about 15 acres there. 11 acres approximately would be for 210 to 220 units. 5 acres approximately would be for a park with a rec center that would cater to the needs of the folks living in that area and to the surrounding community. The city is proposing that that housing be for seniors, folks over 55. Some of us qualify, and there would be priority for ABC employees. Back in July of 2003, ABC had a 7-Eleven committee, and that's not a convenience store committee. The 7-Eleven committee consists of 7 to 11 committee members that the district called together in 2003 to look at all district property. That committee voted 7-0 with 2 abstentions to declare the district office property surplus. That report was accepted by the board. And let me read to you directly what that committee asked the board to do. This is the recommendation directly from that committee. Due to the potential cost of rehabilitation and repair of the buildings, they're talking about the district office buildings, and its prime location, the district should consider leasing the property to a developer. The City of Cerritos would be willing to assist the district in selecting potential developers. Any long-term lease of the district property should generate sufficient income to cover the cost of alternative district facilities and provide substantial revenue to support ongoing facility needs. In addition, the site of any new district facilities should meet the needs of all 5 cities that the district currently serves. Now, that was the Citizens Committee back in 2003, made that recommendation to the Board of Education, and that Citizens Committee recommendation was accepted by the ABC School Board. This proposal fulfills that request for that 7-Eleven committee. They requested that the district look into leasing that property. Again, the district would not sell the property. The district would lease the property for 55 years. The property remains the property of the ABC Unified School District. The ABC School District would earn approximately $2 million a year. That would be adjusted upward based on the cost of the housing. There's a housing index. Where over 55 years, the district would realize about $275 million in revenue for the district facilities. And we're talking about educational facilities in all of the schools. The maintenance and operations yard, the district office, nutrition services, every one of our school facilities, like I mentioned, all the 30 schools in ABC. Cerritos would build and lease to the district a new district office facility across from Cerritos High School. What would be provided to the district is, I think, a good proposal for the citizens of the school district, all the citizens of the school district. 1, we're acting on a 7-Eleven committee recommendation. 2, there's money for facilities, educational facilities. The citizens of the ABC School District were quite generous years ago to pass a bond issue. We were able to double that with a state program. Spent about $135 million modernizing facilities some years ago. That is a proposal that one of these days we may need to go back to the citizens and ask them to consider the facilities. This certainly would mitigate the request for money in the sense that we would generate income and be able to work on school facilities, because that's where the money would be placed, in a school facilities fund or an educational facilities fund. We would upgrade nutrition services, which has substantial needs. The cost of upgrading the district office so it doesn't leak, and that we could replace the carpets that are 25 years old. It's been estimated at about $1 million. We'd be able to provide some money for that. And very importantly, affordable housing would be provided for our community. The board wants input. What we've done is every second board meeting of each month, there's a section set aside for an information item dealing with this issue. And we invite people to come and address the board meeting. Like I said, it is agendized each and every month. The board is very eager to listen to changes in the proposal. When the city comes up with a formal proposal, the board will take a look at that. No formal proposal has been received yet from the city. We understand the city's looking at the proposal and making changes as they go. The timeline for the board to consider the project, we're looking at June for the board to make a final decision after they've had time to review the proposal. The board won't make a decision any faster than June, but the board may take a little longer to make a decision if they need more time to examine the consideration from the city. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Certainly, board meetings are available, the materials we prepare. We have some materials on our website. We have materials at each of our board meetings, and happy to send any materials or answer any questions if I can right now.
Dr. Smuts, you have a school located over there next to the offices also. What is going to take place with that school there?
We have an adult school across the street and a Tracy Continuation High School. Those schools will remain.
They will remain.
Yes.
Good.
And we'll have a joint use agreement with the city of Cerritos for the park space. We will be able to work together so the kids, the students that attend Tracy Continuation School will be able to use the park facilities during the school day.
That was my greater concern, is a continuation school over there, because I feel that's really needed.
They need fields. Right now, they walk through the adult school to get to some fields that we have on the east side of those two facilities, but they're not adequate. They're not as good as they should be. And so we'll be able to develop with the city the 5-acre park and have some joint use opportunities there.
Thank you.
Dr. Smuts, how much is the lease for that land?
Well, we're looking right now, I mean, this ballpark, we haven't seen a proposal yet, but we're talking about between $2 and $3 million a year.
Okay, and so somehow, some way, I guess you're talking that. I mean, did I get you right? It was 55 years. You're going to get $255 million.
Well, what happens is that the housing costs, as the rental goes up, the lease will go up at the same rate that the rental goes up. So amortized over 55 years, if you increase $3 million and then 3 plus and then 3 plus, it ends up amortized about $275 million over 55 years. And you're talking $3 million now. At the last few years, you're probably talking $11-12 million a year because the amortization in the cost. If you look at our house payments, let's say 55 years ago, they were probably pretty cheap compared to what there would be today. The same expectation, maybe not that drastic, would occur in any kind of rental unit, that as the rental unit rent goes up over 55 years, the district's lease portion would be tied to that.
Is the city of Cerritos is going to build you administrative offices?
Yes.
They're going to do? Are they going to lease those back to you? Or
Yes.
How much are those going to cost?
What they're looking at is about $750,000 a year.
Because if you, maybe I'm a little confused, but if you take $255 million and you split it into 55 years, it's $463,636.36. And you're going to pay $750,000 in lease? There's got to be something wrong with that.
I don't understand the question. Well, our income will be about $3 million, and it'll go up each year tied to the rent. Our expense for leasing is $750,000 a year, tied to what we receive in a lease. So the district, let's say if we are receiving $3 million a year in the initial year, and we're paying out $750,000, the district would realize a profit of $2.25 million. Now that, of course, is all adjusted over 55 years.
So as things go up, those go up too?
Correct.
Okay, that's what it is. All right.
It's amortized up over 55 years. And depending on the state of the economy and the rental rate is not fixed by the city, it's fixed by law. There's the housing authority in the Los Angeles area fixes those rents by law. So it's not determined by the city or by any other agency. It's determined by a third party, which is the housing authority in the area.
Well, that's for your low income. It's not for your...
It's low, low, and moderate.
Moderate.
Low and
Yeah,
moderate.
three.
And you have some that aren't, right?
Yes, that's it. Very low, low, and moderate.
Because certainly, school employees wouldn't fall into any of those two categories, right? And they have priority, or what?
Anyone that would qualify, and what the city is accepting, is anyone that is current or has been an employee. Many would qualify. We have folks that work 3 hours a day. We believe some of them would qualify. Folks that have retired, we believe some of them would qualify. So folks that are currently working or are retired would be eligible.
Yeah, but some of those people wouldn't be in the low mod and low, right?
Is someone on a fixed income, let's say, that worked 15 hours a week, could qualify.
Yeah. But would currently working employees?
If they were over 55.
Oh, if they're over 50?
Yeah, this is senior housing. The proposals changed somewhat, but what the city's proposing right now would be senior housing only, that would qualify for the very low, low, and moderate.
Understand.
Good, that's what we need more of anyhow, because I know that we have a mobile home park over on the other side of Coyote Creek there that is raising their rents absorbently for the seniors over there. They're all on fixed incomes over there. And they are basically going to keep raising their rents until they're well over $700 a month. Now, you take a person that's on the original Social Security system of getting only $800 or $900 a month, that's not going to leave a whole lot for food and other things. You know, so that's what I worry about where seniors are concerned. They're dear to my heart. And I'm also one of those retired people myself, so I know where they're coming from, you know. So, you know, that's my major concern is that, you know, that the seniors are going to be looked at and that the housing will be available and that the rents will not be too absorbent for them.
Any housing that's market, that would be determined, I believe that's probably not determined by the Housing Authority, but the very low, low, and moderate is determined by formula.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you have a plan.
Okay. If you have any questions, Mr. Marquez can let me know, or you're welcome to come to any of our board meetings or give me a call, and happy to answer any questions.
All right.
We appreciate your attendance.
Thank you very much. All right. Before we go to oral communications, John, you had something?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the city attorney's office would like to have the council approve a closed session item. This closed session is a subsequent need item. That is, the issue came up after the agenda went out, but before tonight's meeting. So state law requires that by a 4/5 vote, I would seek your authority to add that item to F1. The closed session would be conference with legal counsel regarding real property negotiations pursuant to Government Code 54956.9.
Okay.
So if I may ask the council for approval to add that?
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, John. All right, before we proceed to oral communications, I need to read this. Complaints against officers or employees. Complaints concerning individual officers or employees of the city should not be heard during oral communications. If you have such complaints, please contact the city administrator's office. Having read that, oral communications items on and not on the agenda. This is the time reserved for members of the audience wishing to speak on items on and not on the agenda. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes.
My name is Reynaldo Rodriguez. I live at 21402 Juan Avenue. The first question I have, why do you have oral communications at this point when the agenda has not been discussed? So how can anybody discuss anything about this agenda? Also, this complaint against city employers, including, I guess, you guys are city employees. You guys took our freedom of privacy here when we had all those violations by our code enforcers, and now you want to take our freedom of speech on top of that. I don't understand you guys are doing to the residents of Hawaiian Gardens. You're supposed to be representing us over here, and yet you're taking a lot of our freedoms away. If we have any complaints against anybody that works for the city of Hawaiian Gardens, I think we should come to you personally as the city council, since you guys run the city, and confront these problems. The other, from last meeting, you allocated money for a prosecutor. I guess it's to prosecute us as civilians or residents of Hawaiian Gardens. And you hesitated to approve the skylight, which it was equal, I think, in the amount of money. And as you know, the crime, I know you guys were trying to say that we don't have that much crime in Hawaiian Gardens, but we do. Let's realize that. Let's confront it. You guys don't want, or I'm sorry, you guys don't want anybody else, any other city to put us down because of our crime rate that we have here in the city with less than a square mile. But yet you're failing to protect us by this type of agendas that you guys have here. I don't see on this complaints against certain individuals. If there is certain complaints, I think we should come and bring it before you. Regardless, we shouldn't have to ask permission, and that's what you're asking us, to ask permission to say these things in the city council. Now, this is you guys are just taking a freedom of speech, plus other freedoms you guys took away. Maybe we ought to bring some outside help to solve these problems. And well, that's all I have to say for now. But this oral communication before the agenda is discussed, how can anybody say anything against the agenda when you have it right at the beginning? That's all I have to say.
Mr. Rodriguez, we've always had oral communications prior to the meeting starting, and as you see on there, if you have a copy of the agenda, it says items on and not on the agenda. Now, the entire agenda, if you wanted to know what's included in each one of these items, is available at the front desk out there for you to purview before the meeting. You can look at it and read every excerpt of what we have in our packets here.
Why can't you have that at the end of this agenda here? What is the reason for that?
I can tell you why. It was done as a courtesy to the public. The public.
The courtesy of the public?
As a courtesy to the public. Because it's posted under the Brown Act, you know what the agenda is all about. If you have an issue about what's going on the agenda, some people didn't want to wait till we got done with business and got down to oral communications at about 11 o'clock at night. Okay, they have to go home, take care of their kids, go to work or do whatever. So we put it at the front as a courtesy to the public.
But
okay.
What are you going to discuss at the beginning of the agenda? What are you going to do?
No. If you put it at the end of the agenda, it means that we have to take care of business. Okay.
Well, that's
and the problem is that a lot of people would walk away while we're taking care of business. That's why it was done that way, Mr. Rodriguez. I can also tell you that oral communications, not including names, I don't believe. I'm going to tell you that I agree with you. I mean, we don't. If you say a name here of an employee, the problem with this policy is that there is a false bit of security that if somebody says somebody's name or complains about somebody in our staff, that somehow something's going to befall them. That is not going to be the case. We're just saying they should not, okay? If you complain about somebody on the staff, there's nothing here to hold you back, okay? The problem with the policy is, it gives staff and it gives the public this false sense that we can't name names, that people in oral communications can't name names, okay? And they can. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you that our attorney's sitting there shaking his head like this. There's nothing we can do to stop people from naming names, okay? And the bad thing about it is that, it may not be us, it may be somebody else, but there should be some kind of statement there that says that if it is done, nothing's going to befall anybody. But it keeps a false sense of security for staff and a false sense of security for the city if we press the issue. If we press the issue, okay, we are going to be in violation of First Amendment rights, and we're representing the government. So that's a hypocrisy in itself. So this whole idea of this policy kind of troubles me, okay? And I think that it should be addressed in some kind of way so we know exactly what we're talking about. We're not going to stop anybody from mentioning names or anything like that. It just ain't going to happen.
Well, this is not what the resolution says here.
No, the purpose of this is to allow our city administrator. This is not the days of old, of councils of old here and everything.
It's getting back to that.
It's a new day. We're trying to clean the city up, trying to clean our act up here and everything, and do a better job for you. The reasoning for that is to allow our city administrator, who is the direct boss of every department head, and by that also the direct boss of every person that is hired by the city, okay? Give him a chance to address the complaints, and then if you don't receive any satisfaction, then you can come to us and say, look, I went to Ernesto. I didn't receive any satisfaction. You are capable of being able to do that.
Well, I think you should give us that choice. I respect Mr. Ernesto Marquez. He's a good man. I know him for years. My son went to school with him. And I know he's thorough and honest and everything. But you should give us the choice to choose whoever we want to, since you are representing us. We voted for you to represent us. So therefore, you should be responsible for some of these actions that happen outside. And besides, I know that everybody's unionized here. You can't, I was in the union. I know how the union works. I don't care who is the boss of who, the union runs the employees.
Mr. Rodriguez, the whole idea of this is, first of all, the hiring of a city manager, all right, is so that he does manage the city. That's why we, the council, hire him, to manage this city, to do the job. We don't want this to be like it used to be, where city employees ran scared to death of the city council for fear of losing their job if somebody said something or whatever, if they said something. He has the job, that's why we hire him, so he can handle it.
I don't think any other city employees are scared to death.
I'm saying not today, hopefully they're not, because that's what we have pushed
They're
for.
well taken care of, they're well paid, they're well represented by the union. I don't think they even care. I mean, they got their own lawyers. You, city council, are our lawyers. You are representing us. So we should have the choice of either coming directly to you. If there's something that we think maybe Ernesto cannot handle, we will go to Ernesto first on some items that we think that he can handle. But if there's something that's way out, then it's up to you guys to take care of the problem. That's why we voted for you.
Believe me, if there is a problem, Ernesto will let us know about it. He will let us know about it, and then we may have to deal with it in closed session sometime or something like that. We don't know. But that's something we need to give him a chance to address and then tell us, well, is there that great a problem that we need to go farther with this, or can you handle it at your level? And assuredly, most of the time, Ernesto can handle it at his level without having to have the council involved in it.
Well, I don't see it that way, and like I said, I will respect Ernesto, and I will, if there is problems that I'm sure that he can handle, he will be addressed to. But other problems, I don't think that he might not be able to handle. It's going to be up to you guys to handle.
Well, I think if my city attorney will give me aye or nay on this, I believe that by law, we can't really tell city employees how to do their jobs or what to do or anything else. That's the reason why we hire a city administrator.
Well,
it is not our function to go out there and ramrod each and every city employee and say, you're going to do it this way.
Well, and then it's going to be up to you to talk to Ernesto.
That's what we do.
The problem
We
resolved.
have these.
You should help him take care of if there's any problems.
That's
I don't
what
see
we're
any
trying to
problems right now.
address. That's what we're trying to do now, Mr. Rodriguez.
This stuff that is coming up here that you guys are coming up with is, it's getting a little bit ridiculous.
Well, for fear of angering you and what have you, in a lot of cases here lately, pardon my French, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. We're trying to address the situation as we see it and trying to do a better job of handling the situation in this city so that we can have a city that people can be proud of and know that the job is being done by everyone in the city.
Well, that's what we voted for you then.
And
We
also,
voted for you.
I understand you're upset about some of the things about city ordinances and everything, the building
I'm
codes
not.
and the ordinances. What, would you rather have a city with no ordinances whatsoever?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the stuff that you're coming up with here. Well, some of the ordinances, sure, we need ordinances, but some of them are a little bit going beyond. We're trying to create a Beverly Hills out here. I mean,
We're going by the same code we've had for years.
Middle-income people and low-income people living in this town.
Mr. Rodriguez, we're going by the same code we've had drafted for years, just that we in the past did not have the money to address the situation as we are today.
Okay, I got one more question. The skylight. What is the reason that you
It's on the agenda for tonight for discussion.
discussion? I mean,
There's
it
a
seems to me like
possibility.
in the last, all the meetings before you as a city council, we kind of been against a lot of law enforcement.
No.
No,
Yeah.
Mr.
No.
Rodriguez, we weren't against. What we wanted was more information on the contract.
Because if you're worried about waking up people at night while there's a rape going on
No.
over there, while there's
No.
somebody being robbed,
Our concern, Mr. Rodriguez, is, first of all, we have to be sure that we have the money in the budget to be able to pay for the Skynot project. So consequently, we ask Ernesto to go back and get more information for us, so every one of us would be aware of what we're facing with the Skynot project. Well, from the looks of things, I'm not going to speak for the rest of the council, I'll speak for me only at this point. From the looks of things, affordability is there for us. We can afford it.
I know that.
And there's a possibility, I'm not speaking for the rest of the council, that'd be wrong of me to do so. But personally, I think we're going to have it tonight. I would love to have it back in the community.
That's why the reason I asked why, because I know the city can afford that. As much money as we, or not we, not I or anything, but as the city has, you approve that the prosecutor right off the bat, that's $40,000 right there. You didn't even wink one eye.
That was a
Yet-
renewal of a contract, I believe.
Yet-
We had to go out for
well-
bid on that, but that's renewed every so often.
How about didn't we have the skylight before?
The Skynite they had, from what I understand, they had years ago, and for some reason or other it was dropped.
We didn't have any money, but I can tell you that the Skynite, let me tell you, we're really missing the point here. The point is that Skynite is not with the Sheriff's Department. The point is that the Sheriff's Department doesn't run Skynite, okay? And it's not Night, N-I-G-H-T, it's K-N-I-G-H-T, okay? And the situation is that in order to enter into an agreement, you have to have a contract. We didn't have a contract last time. We're not going to approve something that we don't have in front of us in the way of a contract. And quite frankly, I'm going to tell you what just happened here. We're at the same situation now. I just got handed this draft contract from the city of Lakewood, handed right to me during session, saying, here, prove it now. I haven't had a chance to even look at this contract. I'm too busy, right? I'm too busy trying to conduct a meeting. I didn't even get a chance to look at this contract. I don't know what the city of Lakewood wants on it, okay? I didn't get a chance to study it. Neither did anybody else here. And if we vote on this thing tonight, we're making a big mistake. I think we have to look at the contract, make the best decision for the city, and go forward. If it's good, then let's vote for it.
So we're
If it's
gonna-
bad, let's make changes.
So we're going to go another month with 6 stolen vehicles, a couple of hijackings, 1 rape,
Mr. Mayor,
child abuse.
if I can intervene, this is turning into a dialogue
I think
and not
we
a
need to-
public
Well,
comment.
Yeah.
I'm cutting it now, I'm leaving. So you guys- but
It's all about
anyway,
a, it's all
doesn't
about a
make any
contract.
sense.
We're not going to approve a contract we don't get to see or study. I mean, I hope that whoever you vote for, like you say, why you vote for them, okay, that they have the wherewithal to look at a contract before they enter into it. If you don't, you're a fool, and you're going to end up just like the old city council of past, okay? That's just it. You got some
All right.
smart people up here that are going to look at those contracts, okay?
My name is Isabel Delgadillo. I live at 22201 Clarkdale Avenue. I'm part of the Neighborhood Watch, and I attended a meeting a week ago, and I was somewhat disappointed because there was only a few of us there. After the big meetings that we just had another meeting, and there was like maybe 8 of us, 9 of us at the most. And we were discussing about, what went on at the meetings, and some people were disappointed at the last meeting at Ferris Fetty. They said that they were kind of glorifying like some of the what used to be like gang members, but they're like newborn Christians again. And well, anyway, some people were kind of disappointed with that. We also talked about how many crime activity for last month, and I was disappointed in the fact that there was really no change. I mean, we're talking about 21 narcotics, 21 vandalism, 7 vehicle burglaries, petty thefts, a total around 92 incidents in our less than 1 mile area. So we talked, and we also talked about, there was a little thing going on where all of the residents had their addresses painted on. And these poor guys who came to paint them, they got harassed by gang members. And so they ended up leaving, and they had to get other people to do it, and with a police escort, which was kind of sad to hear. And I think it was a good idea to have the addresses painted on because of the fact it helps the police officers find the houses where there's something going on or where they need help. So that was a good thing. We also talked about some type of surveillance cameras. If there are places that are prone to violence or criminal activity, why aren't cameras placed? I've heard about this being done in other cities, and I think it would be a great idea to do it. The captain, I think, was talking about that there was something going on. They were having talks about that. Well, I think that needs to be done, and I think it should be done as soon as possible, because there's too many things going on, and I think we need something more drastic now. So that's all I have to say. And as far as that ordinance about, complaints and how it should be dealt with the right here, the city, I think if a person chooses to do it that way, fine. But I think also, we should also be given the right to do it in this type of setting, if we feel strongly about it. So I think we should get given the choice to do it, either way. And I just want to announce that our next Neighborhood Watch meeting is March the 7th. Everybody's invited, including the council people. I hope to see you there.
Well, you just answered one of the reasons why you're having problems out there in the community. You only had 8 people at your last meeting. Not enough people are interested in doing anything about it. They want to talk about it, but that's as far as they want to go. Nobody wants to report crimes. They don't want to be a witness, so on and so forth. So you can't expect the sheriffs to be able to clean it up if we don't have the people standing behind them.
Well, I think we should have some surveillance cameras placed in the areas that need it.
We'd have to look and see if we even have the money there to be able to afford that. That's a very expensive project.
Well, if we have the money for prosecutors and we have money...
Well, we'll look into it.
Okay.
Well, that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Just to answer the question regarding the surveillance cameras, we do have 3 wireless surveillance cameras, and we have utilized them in the past. Unfortunately, we don't go out informing the public of where they're placed and located. We have had some issues, though, as of late on location and where to place them. We can't, unfortunately, just place them on an Edison light pole. It's totally against the law, so we do have surveillance cameras. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Good. So there you go. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak this evening? I sure don't want to be accused of cutting people off.
I'm just curious. My name is Isabel Delgadillo again. I live at 22201 Clarkdale. I'm just curious as to the library. What's going on with the library? Supposedly it was going to be moved. And so what's happening with both the library and the new police station or substation?
Public Safety Center.
Well, both projects are moving forward. The library/public safety center is, the plans are being done as we speak now, so it's just a matter of time, and we're hoping close to the end of this year we'll have some type of grand opening, but we are moving forward with it. Unfortunately, it's taken some time to acquire the property, so that's where we're at, but it is going to happen.
Okay, thank you.
All right, seeing no one else, we'll now proceed to ordinances. Conduct first reading and introduced ordinance number 514, approving and amending the Hawaiian Gardens Municipal Code, Section 208.1010, to provide a salary adjustment for members of the City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens, repealing ordinance number 504.
Honorable Mayor and Council, this is just a, something we do before an election, and we do it about the same time every year. It doesn't take effect until after the election, and by law, we are only allowed, the council's only allowed a 5% increase, so it's not saying we're going to give them $30 million to be on the council. But we're trying to get things done as much as possible before I'm without an assistant. So that's why it's coming to you now.
I'll move it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And for anyone interested, that would take our salaries to about $700 and some odd dollars a month. So we're not going to get rich. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay. Let's see. Item B, public hearings. Conduct public hearing and adopt resolution number 008-2007, approving the city's community development block grant CDBG program and budget for fiscal year 2007-2008.
Move it.
Second.
Pardon? All it does say conduct public hearing. So you want to open the public hearing?
I'll open the public hearing.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing's now open. Anyone wishing to speak on this?
Would you like a staff report?
Yes.
Patrick?
Thank you. Mayor Heckerman and members of City Council, this is before you is a resolution to approve the 2007-2008 CDBG or Community Development Block Grant Program. This is funding that is provided through the federal government to address housing and community development needs. The city receives an annual entitlement from the Los Angeles Urban County Program, and the availability of funding for 2007-2008 is estimated to be at $250,366. That would be combined with $91,304 in unallocated funds and another $292,993 in acquired CDBG funds. This is another item that's before you this evening, the approval of the acquisition of CDBG funds. The total program resources of $634,663 would be used to again address housing and community development needs in the city. The budget serve to address rehabilitation and preservation needs through the Housing Rehabilitation Program and the Code Enforcement Program. It would address public service needs through the Neighborhood Cleanup Program and the Alternatives to Gang Membership Program. It would provide funding for a capital improvement project, the Street Overlay Program, and also provides funding for program administration. The public hearing tonight allows an opportunity for citizens in the community to provide any input on the community development block grant funding. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address those.
Council have any questions? Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak on this? I'll entertain a motion to close. Anybody listening over here? I'll entertain a motion to close.
I'll
You
second
didn't read
that.
the agreement, I just got this damn thing.
Which one did you just get?
This one.
We're not talking on that right now.
Yeah, but I gotta catch up.
Well, pay attention to where we are.
You know. Well, you know what?
We're on item B, hearings.
I know what item we're on. I'm not the only one not saying anything.
Conduct public hearing, adopt resolution. We're all public hearings open. Do I hear a resolution, or do I hear a motion to close?
I make a motion to close.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, now, do I hear a motion on the action, on the item?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Approve.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item C, resolutions. C1, adopt resolution 009-2007, approving the exchange of Community Development Block Grant CDBG funds for fiscal year 2007-2008 between the City of Hawaiian Gardens and the cities of Bradbury, La Habra Heights, Manhattan Beach, Rolling Hills Estates, Sierra Madre, and Westlake Village, California.
I'll
Move
make
it.
the motion.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
If there's excess funds that's gonna come to this,
Yeah,
because of this
292,000 we're getting from them.
I know, no.
What?
We're talking about our budget. Our budget is 91,000, right?
Oh, that's available now to us?
That we're short.
There's no shortage. The CDBG budget consists.
I'm not saying you're short. We're using general funds to the tune of $91,000, right?
190.
In order to make up the difference of our CDBG responsibilities.
The city has 91,304 of unallocated CDBG funds, is what it is.
How much is our CDBG budget?
The total budget with the acquisition of these funds would be 634,663.
How much is our, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
How much is our CDBG budget without the funds?
Directly from the
grant.
urban county program.
Right.
Is $250,366.
250,000?
366.
366. Okay. All right. And we're going to acquire, and how much is the budget, our obligations, if we don't get those funds, what is our budget is 250,000 or what?
Right.
Oh, okay. So it's 250,000, and we're going to get an additional 292,000?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to
Yes.
plan to do with that?
That would serve to fund ongoing activities that have been funded through the Community Development Block Grant Program, housing rehab, code enforcement. It would supplement these programs, ATGM, and it would also serve to, Neighborhood Services Program, it would also serve to provide sufficient funding for a street overlay.
Okay, and some of those funds are general funds money that are doing that right now, right?
Yeah, the
Right.
budget is also supported partially through the general fund as well.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to get at. I just didn't know what our responsibilities are past the 250 point. Okay?
Right.
But existing programs, it's a smart move because we're using restricted funds instead of general funds.
Right.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right, we will go to item C2, adopt resolution -010-2007. A request by the Community Development Department to adopt the 2006 edition of the Green Book Standard Specifications for Public Works Construction and the Green Book Standard Plans for Public Works, both with their respective 2007 supplements. Everyone understand that one?
Move it. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion? No discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item C3, adopt resolution number 011-2007, approving pre-issued warrants and regular warrants in the amount of $556,071.28.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Prida?
Yes.
Councilmember Chides?
Aye.
Councilmember Schultz?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Canada?
Yes.
Mayor Hickerman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, under council action, let's see, under discussion items. Approval of minutes, January 9th, 2007, regular meeting.
Meeting. Move it. Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. January 16th, 2007, adjourned regular meeting.
Move it. Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. January 23rd, 2007, regular
Move it.
meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. Let's see. Consideration, item D2, consideration of a monetary donation to Fetty Middle School for Fetty Television FTV broadcast program.
I believe Mr. Lewis is here, is possibly in the audience that was the one who put in the request, if you have any questions.
Yes, in fact, I met the gentleman over there the day that they invited me over to participate in a bicycle giveaway there and utilize their facilities. Very nice, thank you.
That's
Welcome.
right. Good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. We did mail a letter the other day requesting some funds, and in looking at the literature this evening I received, it's really wonderful to think back over the years of relationship that we had with you. And many of you have come to the studio before, and we've been more than happy to receive you and more than happy to promote the community events that occur here in Hawaiian Gardens on the broadcast every morning. As many of you know, Fetty Middle School was, I believe, the first school in the district, first middle school in the district to have a studio. And it's aging now, and it's probably in its, I believe, 11th year or 12th year. I'm not sure, 11th year, I believe. And I've been associated with it the last 6 years. And 39 years ago, I was working with Mr. Fetty and had the opportunity to study under him. And I appreciate through the years the cooperation and collaboration that the district has had with our school. I've only been at Fetty for 26 years, but I started at Melbourne 39 years ago. So I've had a history of watching what the City of Hawaiian Gardens has done with schools, and I've never asked for anything in my whole life from the city. But I just felt that I would do this. We have received monies and gifts and donations from Channel One Corporation, which is a nationwide subsidiary of Prime Media. We've received a lot of things from them, but I figured if you don't ask for something, you never get it.
That's true.
So that was the purpose of the letter. It's a high-use facility. The kids are in line in a vertical situation with Ferguson, with ourselves, and with Artesia, and of course other elementary schools, to bring a life to the word technology and the math, science, and technology component of our middle school. And we would really appreciate your consideration in offering a grant, or whatever you might want to call it, for approximately $8,500, just to really reestablish and reinforce the many wonderful things that we're doing, and technologically speaking, provide some materials and equipment for us. I would be happy to receive any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions of him? Okay.
We just one more thought. It's been so much fun for me through the years to receive civic leaders, CEOs of corporations, guests, former students, just leaders in many fields of business and education. And we really appreciate the opportunity to do your business on the TV station. Look forward to that relationship continuing, irrespective of the decision that's made here this evening.
Well, being an alumnus of that school, first graduating class out of there, I'm very pleased to see the progress that's been made at Fenny over the years, because we sure didn't have anything like that when I was first attending it, but it sure is great what they have to offer to the kids today.
Thank you. It's live, all the work's included. It's of, by, and for the students, and it's a thrill to be associated with the program.
That's great.
Thank you for your consideration.
All right, what's council's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to make the donation.
Second.
How much?
How much? The whole 85 or what?
Yeah.
For the whole 85?
Yeah.
All right. We have a motion and a second for the entire 8,500. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. You have your 8,500 coming
Thank
to
you
you.
very much, Mr. Mayor, council members. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Been a pleasure having you as our principal over there, too. I know you're retiring soon. Well,
I wanted to thank the city council for asking me to do the grand march this year.
oh, it's our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you, Paul.
It's an honor working for 33 years with this community and working with the Coalition for Youth Development and working with our Southeast community, our regional community development organization. And I'll still be around for NAFTA.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. All right. Item 3, consideration of a request for a monetary donation to Artesia High School Red Cross Club.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, we're in the receipt of a letter from Ms. Mina Garcia, who's the first aid CPR instructor at Artesia High School. She's also the Red Cross advisor there. Basically requesting assistance, financial assistance. She's going to be taking a group of youth, anywhere from 35 to 40, I believe, youth. 29 being Hawaiian Gardens residents up to Big Bear. They're going to be conducting first aid CPR certification and some first responder training also. I myself thought it was very important for us because there's a large emphasis right now to train our community residents in first aid CPR and, really press for being prepared in the event there's an emergency. So in speaking to Ms. Garcia, the approximate cost of the entire trip is somewhere roughly around $5,000, but what she did mention to me was that any assistance the city could give would be greatly appreciated. So.
I'll move the 5,000.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for 5,000. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I, too, think it's a very important class for the kids, so.
If I may add something, she's also an instructor in Spanish. She's bilingual, and she has offered to assist the city with community first aid CPR classes. So
Good.
we're going to be talking to her.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
That'll help us out.
Yeah. Well, the more people that know CPR and what have you, the better it is, because in today's society, a lot of things do happen. Here recently, I think people have read of things like this happening within families, and one of the members of the family knew a little bit about CPR and was able to keep that person sustained until paramedics arrived. So it's a worthy program. Thank you. All right. Item D4, discussion of rejoining the Sky Night program, City of Lakewood, for the City of Hawaiian Gardens.
Mayor, City Council members, at the last meeting, staff was directed to get in contact with Lakewood and get a draft agreement. We did do that. My apologies for the agreement not being in the packet, but there was direction given for it to be distributed, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, I'll be accountable for it. It was not in there, in the packet. The city attorney did have an opportunity to review it, and this agreement here that you have in front of you is the same agreement that all the other cities have. Artesia, Bellflower, Cerritos. So it's uniform, and that's the agreement they presented us with.
So they really didn't change anything with with some of the issues that I brought up at all. They didn't do a thing.
No.
It's not good. I mean,
I think part of some of the questions Councilmember Chaitis had were in relation to the operations. And Captain Fender, I don't know if you're able to maybe help us address some of those questions?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Not sure all the questions I recall from the last council meeting. There was, I heard a concern about the altitude, the normal altitude for law enforcement helicopters for Skynight as for our own Aero Bureau is 500 feet. That's the customary altitude that patrol helicopters will fly at. Once a containment is set up, then there are times that the incident commander might ask that helicopter move up a little bit higher, but they're also coordinating with air traffic control in the area, and they have an altitude that they're supposed to be flying at. The other thing is, as far as altitude, the one who's in charge of that helicopter is a pilot. So we can't write up a contract that specifies in the city of Hawaiian Gardens there's a certain altitude. FAA one determines the altitude that law enforcement helicopters are going to fly at, plus the pilot is in control of that helicopter. The other thing I heard, if I recall at the last council meeting, was the types of things that Skynight would respond to. One, as your chief of police, I wouldn't ask that you put restrictions on Skynight to what they respond to. Your deputies on the ground, that's another tool that they have. And they're the ones that are making requests, plus they would naturally respond to life emergency type situations. I guess the way that I'd ask you to look at it is that if the council here was going to purchase an additional deputy for the city for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, it would cost this city about $275,000. You add on 6% liability, it would be roughly $292,000 to add that deputy. And what any city wants with a deputy in a black and white is visibility, as we all know. Visibility, we hope, is a deterrent to crime. Much of the crime that you have in this community are random acts of violence. It's recently, just since the last council meeting, we had a number of individuals that were robbed in the city on the street. Gentlemen going to an ATM, robbed. Individual walking down the street, being beaten up. These are random acts of violence. Now, if a police car were to drive by at that time, that would probably deter the criminal from committing that act. With a helicopter, and you've all heard the helicopter, you hear it before it arrives, and you really don't know where it's going to come to. And it covers a much larger area. Where that black and white is driving by a corner and it might be seen, a helicopter is being seen and heard from lots of corners throughout the city. And when you have a city that's only 9/10 of square miles, that's a huge benefit to this community. So how many acts of violence are we possibly deterring with the presence of that helicopter? Why would you not want that helicopter flying over your city? Why would you only want it waiting for an emergency? You want it to patrol your city. That's a tool. And for, I believe the figure is $50,000 a year versus adding another deputy 7 days a week, 8 hours a day for $292,000. I think that's a great deal. Not any other station throughout the county has its own helicopter. We do. I would want Hawaiian Gardens to be a part of this. Unfortunately, crime is high in this community. And I would think that you'd want to add every tool in our toolbox to fight the crime in this community and deter crime. And what better benefit do you have than have a helicopter fly over and deter someone from committing a random act of violence?
Well, my only problem is my two concerns was the altitude. If it's set by the FAA, should have informed us that and what is set by the FAA. And it doesn't hurt us to know those things, because we can also tell, the public, when they talk to us about the Sky Night, those facts. And that's what's important to us. I think a lot of things that come in with public safety, people out in the community don't, as you've seen here, won't ask staff members as much. They walk up to us. How come there's not more cops on the street? Why? Don't you know? How many people are in our deployment plan? How many cops do you have on the street? If you don't know, you look awfully stupid. Okay? And all we're doing is asking for facts. What is happening with Sky Night? And what is the level of service? Now, the agreement is with the city of Lakewood. And I have to admit that the city of Lakewood and the Lakewood Station have a pretty good relationship. The problem what happened here in the past, and if you forget the past, we're destined to make the same mistakes as in the future. The problem is that we had a helicopter that was flying over here nearly every day when it wasn't needed. And the problem is that starts getting people stirred up in town. Okay? People say, well, people in outlying communities, because we are so small, saying, oh, look, they killed another person. Or they killed another cop. When they're flying over because somebody broke somebody's window in their car. And I think that's part of the problem I have with Sky Night. Sky Night, I think we're going to pay for patrols. We're going to get charged for that as patrols. I just had a cursory look at this agreement. Okay, Captain Fender? A cursory look. I just got this agreement. We're in no different situation as we were last time, 2 weeks ago when we met. Why this thing didn't come to our desk earlier, I don't know. But it didn't make it. I think it beat the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay? And I have concerns with it. I'm sure some of the other people might have some concerns with it. We got to know what the agreement says. If we approve agreement and not know what it says, especially if we have concerns about the agreement, then we find out nothing's been done about those concerns. It makes us look like, geez, heck with you guys. You guys are not important. We'll write up our own agreement, and the heck with your concerns. Okay? And I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. And I think others should have the problem too. According to this contract, not only do we get a flat rate, as you say, but we're also apt to get a higher rate with more flyovers. And I think those more flyovers actually offset the cost for the other cities. So it encourages the sheriff's department to fly over as much as they can in order to bring down the cost for the other cities. And that was the problem we had in the past. I know what happened. I used to be a staffer here in the past. I wasn't only a city council person, I was a city administrator. Okay? And I knew what happened in the past. And we tried to talk to the sheriff's department and ask them if they could change the way the contract is built so that not so many flyovers would happen just on patrolling. Because they just patrol, they leave, and the next thing you know, it ends up on our bill. And all the other cities are happy because Hawaiian Gardens is footing the bill, and they're looking at us saying, oh, those dumb guys. Okay? They're going to pay anything they want. And that's not good. I think we're conscientious. We have some people who are conscientious of cost. And I think it's not fair to us to come up here, give us an agreement during city council meeting. We waited 2 weeks and then expect us to approve it. And then maybe some people will approve it. But I'll tell you one thing, they haven't read it. Okay? And I've barely read it, but I know how the billing system works from what I read. Okay, and it's not a good situation for our city. I had concerns.
I've read it.
And I expect those concerns to be taken care of.
I'm for it.
At least talk to me about it, not come here 5 minutes before the meeting and then turn around and say, here's your agreement, everybody else gets it, and that's it.
If I may respond, in all due respect, the pilot controls the helicopter and the altitude it flies and whether or not it can land at certain places, the speed it can travel at. but where that helicopter flies within the station area and what type of calls of service it responds to, and the areas that it goes to provide patrol checks, that's controlled by the observer inside that helicopter. That observer works for me, not the city of Lakewood. And the observer does not go to a city to stack up the minutes so one city can be charged another. I'm accountable to that. That's my employee, and that does not happen. Okay, yes, it's based on how much time you spend in a city, and you've got the ratio, it's in the contract. I'm not that well versed to speak to it right now. But the thing is that our helicopter, Sky Knight, is going from call to call through the area, all 5 cities. This is a great tool. Again, I take it back to a deputy, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, would cost the city $292,000. I don't think Sky Knight's ever going to cost you that much money. And look at the benefit that you get with this. This is a program that 4 other cities have been a part of since 1966.
Well, I understand what you're saying, okay? I'm just telling you my concerns on this situation. I hope you understand those concerns. I'm not saying that you get a blank check, okay? I'm just saying that, when it comes down to these situations, it's a matter of efficiency and effectiveness. Yeah, a cop might cost you $280,000. But the sheriff's department is lagging behind when it comes to patrolling. I think in this city they've lagged behind when it comes to patrolling. I think they need to put GPS units on your cars, and I think that those GPS units should be available to the city that they're in, so we know where your cop cars are. Okay? And I don't think it's an efficient and effective situation according to the deployment plan, because one good thing about the 9/10 of a square mile we have here is you can ride this 9/10 of a square mile in 20 minutes, and you can see what cops are out on the street. And let me tell you, these people out here, they walk up to me and say, "Where are the cops?" I don't see them around. They don't walk to you. They don't walk to any of the staffers. They don't walk to anybody, but they come to us, okay? And we've got to look like we're on the ball with this stuff. If we don't look like we're on the ball, it affects us. It affects our, how we look in the public, and hey, we might not get elected next time because we don't know anything about the deployment and where these cops are. I've talked to contract cities about this situation, and it's just been turned the other ear. But efficiency and effectiveness is what we're talking about. People aren't going to have faith in government if it's not efficient and effective. And that's all I'm saying, is that, we need to have some efficiency and some effectiveness so that we know what we're paying for and that we're not getting gouged. That's all I'm saying.
In all due respect, I believe the deputies that are assigned to the city of Hawaiian Gardens are working very hard for this community. There are a lot of gang members that have been going to jail. Unfortunately, it hasn't deterred some of them because they're still very active out there. But these deputies that work for the city work extremely hard day in and day out. And all I'm asking is for this council to give them a very valuable tool in their toolbox to help them better do their job.
Well, I'm here to remind you who I was, okay? I was a city administrator here, okay? So I can tell you that I was phasing out the police department, if you don't recall, in order to bring the sheriff's department in, okay? Because I thought the sheriff's department was a more professional organization. And I thought that maybe if we brought them in, that we could have a more efficient and more effective police force than what we had. And I think we do. But at the same time, we're not going to turn a blind eye and have, I guess, a blanket check. We want to make sure that the cops on the street are on the street. And I think that that's something that we ask our employees, that they're doing their job, and they've done their job. But I don't think it's unfair to say that government has a right to be efficient and effective. And I think that if we're not efficient and effective, the public rises up in arms and say, heck with that government, And I'm not criticizing I'm not criticizing our patrolmen, okay? Because my contention is that for many years, the cities had this attitude that if I seen a Cerritos car here at the casino or the card club, that we wouldn't say anything because, hey, that's an extra car in Hawaiian Garden. Okay? You know what the problem with that is? Cerritos is paying for that car. So I have a working agreement with Cerritos. Whenever I see their car over here, I call the director of finance. Hey, you know, you got a car over here. And you know what? Other cities are starting to do the same thing. But we don't have GPS units here. I'm hoping that you get that so that we can say we have these cars in the city according to our contract and deployment plan. You know, I'm probably one of the few people that you walk up to that hold this contention. You know that. I've probably taken a lot of heat for it. Okay? And you probably know that I have. Okay? But I'm a typical Chitus. And I guess you'd say I'm strong enough to take the heat. And I'm saying that these people deserve to have cops on the street, not just throw money. We put money toward public safety. We've had a 67 or 68% increase in public safety in our budget since 1999, since I've been an elected official. 67% increase in public safety. And that 67% increase went straight to the county sheriff's department. Okay? So I'm not the enemy, okay? I'm just saying, hey, we want to be treated with respect and we want some efficiency and effectiveness. And I think that's what these people are voting for. If not, they can vote somebody else in.
I appreciate everything this council has done over the years with the funding of the sheriff department and what you've given us. And this is one thing that I think will benefit the residents of this community and provide another degree of safety to the residents of this community. You know, GPS, I believe, has its value towards officer safety. You know, we'll see if it'll eventually come to the police cars. But you want accountability and where the policemen are? Well, you know what, that helicopter, you'll hear that helicopter when it's over your city. You'll have your accountability.
I see the cars out in the streets all the time, and I say, thank you, Lord, every time they go down my street. And I want Sky Night.
Well,
I see them too, but that deployment plan takes place.
Well, I
every
think
day.
instead of adding another car to the city, we should add the Sky Night. I mean, we might be 9/10 of a square mile if we got 15,000 residents in such a small community. And why not have? When I hear those helicopters come over in my area, I come out and look and find out where they're at and what's going, and trying to find out what's happening. And if Captain Fender's saying that we have a high crime in our city, why not put a Sky Night? I mean, that's just one more car to me being up there in the air to help protect our residents and to protect our sheriffs that are out there. They cannot be in one part of town and be on the other part of town in a matter of seconds. If the crime is on one side and there's another crime on the other side, there's no way a car is going to end up on that side taking care of somebody on this side.
you're right.
Yeah, that's my feeling and my opinion.
Okay, do we have any further discussion? All right, what's council's pleasure?
Make a motion.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Honorable Mayor,
No, that's right. So
Okay.
we're going to have to bring this back as a resolution.
as a resolution. That way, we can track it if
All right, then bring it
necessary.
back as a
So we'll have it on the next agenda as a resolution.
Right, but you can vote on it
Let's
and
vote on it,
approve it
yes.
right now.
Well,
We'll
we just
bring it
vote,
back.
we just.
Because I went through the draft when the meeting was
Yeah, so did I.
in between, so.
And there's nothing there that we haven't already heard, plus the fact I looked through the agenda portion here, and the money amounts still remain the same, and as far as that eye in the sky, we've been needing it for a long time. And I'm trusting that we will get what we're paying for, and I know we will. So it's coming, folks. All right. We have where are we? Sure. Item D5, discussion of an agreement with Cerritos Regional Chamber of Commerce.
The lady in the red jacket, she's been here the whole meeting.
She, as you can recall, she did.
Yes, she did.
Do a presentation last.
Yeah.
Did everyone get a
council
chance to
meeting,
read their
and
packets?
Yeah.
Yes.
There was an agreement.
Okay. Everyone saw the agreement in there and everything? I'll entertain what council's pleasure is on that.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Looks like we're going to be part of it. That will come, does that have to come back as a resolution also?
There's a possibility, yeah, that there's a budget adjustment that needs to be made. for
Okay,
the
but it has been,
$30,000
for all intents and purposes, it's been approved. So, thank you. All right. Council action. Item 6, let's see, item D6, discussion of a request for a donation to Sister City Venustiano Carranza of Unit 13 and 1991 Ford Econoline.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, back in January 2006, you did declare Unit 13 surplus. That's one of the mini buses. And at this time, staff's requesting that it be donated to our sister city, Venustiano Carranza. There's an expansion of programs there for the disabled and youth. And, they did contact us to see if we had any vehicles available.
So it'll be used for the seniors and the disabled.
Right.
And also for the sports,
And
the
the
young
right.
kids.
Okay.
Are we going to have any problem getting it down there?
Probably the usual ones.
We should.
Will it take the roundabout,
We'll get down there a lot
Area.
quicker this time, I hope.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the Presidente, Ismael Torres, he said he was going to be joining us for our anniversary celebration this year. So
Good.
Okay, make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion in 2 seconds. This may go. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none? Item carried. All right. Item D7, discussion of an agreement with Municipal International, a.k.a. or also known as Anthony Lopez, for grant writing services.
Can you give us?
Sure.
on this?
Yeah, I was contacted a few weeks ago by actually former city manager here, Administrator Anthony Lopez. He did retire. He's located in Fresno, and he was offering his grant writing services basically free of charge until, of course, there was an award given to the city, in which then he wouldn't be entitled to 5% of whatever the award was. But he apparently is very interested in providing this service to not only our city, but he's also offering it to other cities. And I thought it was a great opportunity for at least to have someone that can assist us with that,
Yeah, I
And,
understand.
Yeah, he's located in Fresno, so
But I
all his
understand
work would be done
getting
there.
a grant writer is really kind of costly, too.
Yes, it is. It
Can
is.
be.
Yeah,
How much is the retainer?
There's no retainer.
it's 5% of whatever.
No retainer.
No
5% of the award amount.
Just asking for 5% of the award.
And right now, who submits grants?
On staff, we have Steve Gomez, who writes grants for us, Juana Hernandez, and that's pretty much it, right?
And it's very time-consuming.
Extremely.
Well, and also,
Well, Councilmember Chaida is very familiar with that process.
Tony
It's-
having been involved,
It's part of my job.
yeah.
with the thing for a long time, he knows what's needed,
Right. Yeah, he is familiar with the city.
Yeah.
I know it's not stipulated. Is it stipulated in this contract where his 5% is?
Yeah,
Oh, here it is.
yeah, it's in the,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And possibly he
Second
knows
page.
other grant areas to go to also.
2C.
Consultant will not be titled to retainer for consultant services.
Yeah.
Right, I see that.
Says will not be entitled to any fee in city grant or loan if loan funding is not awarded to city. Looks good to me.
Now, have you talked to anybody else concerning these kinds of contracts?
I haven't found someone else to offer that service.
Huh?
I haven't found anyone else to offer that service.
Not for 5% or whatever award.
Not for free.
Well, not
only
for
5%
free.
of the
For
award.
free, I mean, that's
Right.
total.
I'm sure
This is
they're
a charity
out
by
there,
the
but
hour.
we haven't been able to locate anyone,
Oh, hell.
to be honest with you.
I don't see any reason why we shouldn't try it for crying out loud and see if it works out.
And just keep in mind, there are some major projects out there that are pretty expensive, costly to us. The Urban Trail one, the parking structure, another, and
I've just about given up on that structure. I know it's awfully expensive.
right.
Well, any other discussion here?
Well, I think there are some other people that do this stuff, right?
Yeah, but they'll probably charge you by the hour.
You know, I seem to recall, we've sat for the last 4 or 5 years, talked about getting grant writers and so on and so forth. We haven't gotten very far because some of these people want to charge an exorbitant fee, other times, they
Some
may
of our-
not be aware.
Some of our existing engineering firms have done some grant writing and applied for grants on our behalf, but of course, we pay for that
You
service.
pay for that, sir.
Right.
So we don't have staff that write any grants?
But he was saying it's time
Just be a
consuming.
supplement to it.
Yes, we do. We do have staff that are involved in writing grants, like I mentioned, Mr. Gomez. I think Joe's helped out. Wileen or Juana, when Wileen was here also. She did a couple. Matter of fact, one of the grants we received last year, Mr. Gomez wrote, we got $1 million for that
Yeah, I remember
sports
that,
complex.
yeah.
And a lot of the
Good job.
public safety grants we get, Juana is responsible for. So.
Well, he's successful.
Well, it can't, I don't see where it could hurt to at least give them a try. See
I
what it
make
can
the
do for us.
motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay. Why does it not surprise me? Oh, well. Let's see. Item E, new business. Closed session.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we'll have our closed session after we adjourn the party.
All right, thank you. Oral staff reports.
Yes, we do have staff reports.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just a friendly reminder on 2 upcoming events that the city is conducting. This Saturday, February 17th, is our first boxing show of the calendar year. It's scheduled to begin at 1 p.m., and we tentatively have scheduled maybe 10 to 15 bouts. It depends on how many boxers we are able to pair up. So we'd love to have you there on Saturday, the 17th. The second announcement is 2 weeks from today, on Tuesday, February 27th, is our annual Student Government Day, where we have the students from Ferris Fetty Middle School come over and shadow you, the council members, as well as staff. And that event is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. They get paired up with staff and council, go on tours, and get to see a behind-the-scenes look on what goes on in city government on a daily basis.
What day was that, Steve?
That's Tuesday, February 27th.
Our next council meeting.
Correct. And there's a luncheon at noon, and then the students come back that evening to the city council meeting where they are recognized for their participation.
Okay. Any other staff reports?
Just as a reminder, we do have our mid-year budget review tomorrow, 9 a.m. Right?
And for the edification of the public, that's open session, that's public meeting, so you can come if you want to. All right, staff, oral council reports? None? Okay, then we will recess to the Community Development Agency, or Redevelopment Agency, rather. Roll call, please.
Director Prida? Here. Director Chairez? Here. Director Schultz?
Here.
Vice Chair Member Canada?
Here.
Chair Member Hickerman?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, again, I know that's that statement people don't like, but here it comes anyhow. Complaints concerning individual officers or employees of the city, community redevelopment agency should not be heard during oral communications. If you have such complaints, please contact the city administrator, executive director's office. All right, we now have oral communications, items on and not on the agenda. This time is reserved for members of the audience wishing to speak on agenda items on and not on the agenda. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes.
So, what,
Name
when
is
do you
Reynaldo
put these
Rodriguez,
on top there?
214021. I just got one comment on the Sky Night. And just, was it about 3 weeks ago, we had somebody jumping over my mom's fence. I guess the officers were on the other street. And I said, the officers were in the other street, and these guys jumped over on my mom's yard and kept on going. Now, this is a good example of why we need the Sky Night. They can hover over and they can follow these guys when they jump over people's yards. And this happens all the time. This happens in Hawaiian Gardens every week.
Happens in Lakewood, too.
We don't care about Lakewood.
I
We
know,
care
but it
about our
happens
city. You know, and I haven't heard anybody complain. I mean, other than people who have some kind of criminal records were the ones that complain about all this going on. But other than that, I haven't heard any citizens or residents complain about the helicopter or anything like that. We need them. We do need the Sky
I'm not
Night.
saying we don't need them, I'm just saying that the agreement that we have
Well,
should be reviewed.
I think you
Some of our
should.
concerns we have should be
Well,
dealt with in the
The concern should be for our citizens, our residents. They're the ones that are being criminalized out there. What are you going to tell them? What are you going to tell the girl that got raped last month and the month before, the other one? What are you going to tell them?
What did you tell all the victims before when we did have Sky Night?
We didn't have no problem.
We had Sky Night, and we had big time problems.
Well, I mean,
We're
I'm
not
saying
in it.
okay, never mind. I'm
We're not
not
gonna
going
go
to
through
further because I
that
know
this
you guys
evening.
want to get this over with. But anyway, that was just the only.
I'm
item I
not
have. Thank you.
criticizing whether Sky Night, just so it's efficient and effective,
Let's-
okay?
Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, resolutions. A1, adopt resolution number 2007-004, approving pre-issued warrants and regular warrants in the amount of $37,046.56.
Move it.
Second.
We have a motion, 2 seconds. I think this one will go to. Roll call.
Director Prida?
3 seconds.
Yes.
Director Chairez?
Aye.
Director Schultz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Member Canada?
Yes.
Chair Member Hickerman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I told you it would. Okay. Item A2, adopt resolution number 2007-005, a request from the Community Redevelopment Agency, County of Los Angeles, State of California, to approve concept drawings for a commercial rehabilitation project located at 22300 Norwalk Boulevard and authorizing staff to prepare plans and specifications. Are we sure this is on Norwalk Boulevard? Or,
Yeah, that's on Norwalk.
okay, because I know we have the other one that's on Carson.
Yeah, the other one is on Carson, but this one is on Norwalk, and I think we're all familiar with this location. This is the Western Junior Market owned by Mr. Liu. This is a building that was built in 1969, and as far as we know, it's always been a neighborhood mini market. And we're all familiar with our commercial rehabilitation program where we grant business owners an 80-20 split on the loans, and anything over $50,000 would come before the city council. After meeting with the property owner and the architect, they have come up with some renderings, and what they have agreed to is a rendering of this nature, and you can see it's pretty pretty well articulated with a lot of decorative ornaments and treatments. On the second page of the staff report, it kind of gives a breakdown of what we're looking at in terms of cost. This is not the actual cost, as it is just a preliminary estimate, but architect estimates this to be around $122,000. This is not a typical commercial rehab that we do. Most of our rehabs are in the $25,000, $50,000 range, but some of the buildings that are out there need a lot of work, such as this one and the next one. But
needs a lot of work.
the applicant is also requesting that his 20%, that he be able to pay that back in installments over a 2-year period, so roughly about $1,000 a month. By approving this tonight, basically you would authorize us to prepare plans and specifications, which again, we would bring back to you for final approval. This is, there is enough money in the budget to do this project.
Well, what happens if he defaults?
Well, we would have a note on the property. It's
What kind of lien on property do you have?
be a promissory note on the property that they'd have to pay it back. It's no different than we have a similar one with Northgate Market.
Why don't you have him do a loan? He can pay back the loan company, he can pay us the $20,000 outright.
We could ask him if he'd like to get a loan on his own.
I mean, you can either pay us or you can pay a loan company, but that way we ensure we have, I mean, we're giving him an 80-20 split. It's the most generous split in the state of California. Nobody has more of a generous split than the city of Hawaiian Gardens. This guy's not willing, he wants us to be a lender? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
No. Tell him to go, tell him to go to a lender. I'm sure he can get a $20,000 loan somewhere off his business and pay whoever he lends. But I think it's time for us to do the efficient and effective thing, and that's get our money first upright and wait around for the guy to pay us $1,000 a month when he's making about $12,000 or $13,000.
He does make money there.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, though. This is not a part of the facade project, is it?
No, this is, we have
That's what I'm saying, yeah. That's
we have
on the
two
opposite, that's the
programs.
223rd Street area.
Right, we have two programs in the city. We have the Norwalk Boulevard Facade Program, and that's
Same breakdown for both programs, though?
the same. As far as
Oh, well,
the
then,
terms and conditions, I think more or less they were the same. 80
And I think I agree with my colleague on that one. We're not in the loan business.
We're not a bank.
Yeah, he should be able to get $20,000.
If he can't get $20,000 for his own commercial entity, there's something wrong.
Yeah, especially when you're
$20,000
adding,
out of my house.
especially when you're adding value to it.
I know that place is busy.
The place
Well,
is
then he
busy.
ought to make
Look,
money.
Nobody would much want to clean up that place than me. But I think he's really overreaching. I think I'm not really too keen on becoming a lender here. And I think if we do this, we're going to set a precedent. And, I don't think I'm prepared to just get into the lending business.
Everyone else will want to do it.
There,
right.
I do agree with you on that, Leonard.
Yeah.
$1,000, anybody who
That's
has a house
nothing.
can get 20. It's nothing. It's chump change.
Yeah.
Tell them go get a loan.
So, how do you want to do this?
Let's motion to table.
Motion
Well, at
table?
this point, I would not recommend that we do anything at this point. Let me see if he is able to get a loan, and
Okay.
maybe secure his property or find other means to be able to get a loan, because he doesn't have the cash to
Okay.
do this, so.
All right, we have a motion to table a motion at this time.
All right, so let us go back and see if he's able to get any type of funding for his
Okay.
project.
Do I hear a second to?
Take this off calendar.
Motion to take it off calendar? Okay.
Motion to take it off calendar.
Second.
We have motion and second. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. All right, let's see. All right, A3. This is the one. Adopt resolution number 2007-006. A request from the Community Redevelopment Agency to approve concept drawings for a commercial rehabilitation project located at where, Joe?
This one is the one on Carson
Yeah.
Street. Right, this is the 12005, 12017 Carson Boulevard. This is Mr. Johnson's property. He is here tonight. He is not asking for a loan.
Thank goodness.
He knew better. So, unfortunately, we can't stop people from asking, as your guidelines do make provisions to ask, and so Mr. Johnson was advised not to ask. However, his project is a lot more costly. He do own two buildings there, and there's a lot more building cover here, but as you can see, Mr. Johnson's property will also go some major extensive renovation there at the corner.
that's gonna look better than it does today.
Substantially eliminate a lot of the blighted conditions there, so we are recommending that you approve this project.
Bless you, my son. Motion.
Second.
We have a motion in 2 seconds. Again?
Second. Chance it might go.
Yeah, right. Any other discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Okay. Okay, item A3, adopt resolution number 2007-006, a request from the Community Development Agency to approve concept drawings for a commercial rehabilitation project. Now, we just did that one.
Yeah. Jeez. I was wondering what you was doing.
We just let you go, you know?
Hit me upside the head, get my attention. Jesus. Okay. Item B. Yeah, get back to, tell me, pay attention. Discussion items. Presentation of minutes, item B1. Presentation of minutes, January 9, 2007, regular meeting.
Move to approve.
We got,
Second.
okay. We have an echo. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. January 23rd, 2007, regular
Move it.
meeting. Huh?
I abstain.
Oh, you abstained?
Yeah.
If you read the minutes, you can vote, but if you haven't read the minutes, then you can't.
I have to abstain because I wasn't here.
No.
Actually, the law states that if you've read the minutes and, or any kind of video or reading of the minutes, you can vote on it. But if
I
you,
just looked at the date and I said,
Okay, well,
abstain.
that's all right, still passed anyhow, so.
No big deal.
All right. All right, January 23rd, 2007, regular meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, motion second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. New business? Closed session?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do have one item on a closed session, real property negotiations at 22404 Clarkdale Avenue. The agency negotiators, Mr. Marquez and Mr. Colombo, and the under negotiation of the term and conditions of property at that site.
Okay, thank you. Oral staff reports?
I have one quick oral staff report, just to clarify something to the audience. The agendas go out on the Thursday prior to a meeting on Tuesday, and there's an agenda packet out there facing out on the counter, and I can point it out to anyone who wants to look at it. Everything that we're looking at up here tonight is in that agenda packet. You can come in and look at it at your leisure, and it's always the Thursday before the meeting, and it's out there available to anyone who wishes to see it. You don't even have to ask for it.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Any other staff reports?
None.
Okay, agency reports?
No.
None? All right, then we'll recess the closed session until after we've done the closed session. Well, we have two closed sessions, rather.
Yes.
We are now back in session, John.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Where's everybody?
Where's Ray? I mean, why didn't we have it at the end? Let's have oral communications there.
No.
We'll be here all night.
Let's get our report and go home.
Okay. The city council did conduct a authorized closed session under Government Code 54956.8, real property negotiations. We did have a presentation report given to the council. However, at this time, there's nothing to report on that matter. With respect to the redevelopment agency, we did have a item on closed session, again, 54956.8, real property negotiations, conference with the negotiators, but at this time, there is nothing to report public at this, so we can adjourn. Both agencies.
Ray's a good guy.
All right, we will adjourn. We will adjourn the city council meeting till tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and adjourn the redevelopment agency until tomorrow morning also, both of them. All right, both agencies, city council and that agency until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
I don't know how long I'm going to last, so we might leave.